Time for tonight's rewrite. Across the nation, polls show several races are extremely tight, indicating that we should all be ready for, yes, recounts. The Republican National Committee has launched a website called NoMoreFrankens.com, and it includes this ad. Wow, talk about cheap production values. Now the Republican National Committee is busy denying that this ad is about voter fraud. RNC spokesman Doug Hay told the Washington Independent, "We're obviously not involved in any anti-voter fraud efforts of any kind." What about the lies in the ad about left-wing shadow organizations and the illegal votes of convicted felons? Surely that is about voter fraud. The truth is, no election in recent history has been more closely examined to eliminate voter fraud than Al Franken's 2008 election to the Senate. The recount process took 35 weeks, and it included 3 separate judicial or quasi-judicial panels with 6 of the 12 judges appointed by Republicans and only 2 by Democrats. Each panel ruled unanimously that Franken had won. And Senator Franken's election certification was signed by Minnesota's Republican Governor Tim Pawlenty, the smart money's bet for the next Republican presidential nomination. There were no left-wing shadow organizations involved. And as to convicted felons voting illegally, Minnesota has charged 80 felons with that crime, and not all have been convicted. Senator Al Franken won by 312 votes. And as journalist Jay Weiner, who covered the recount extensively, pointed out in Talking Points memo, there's no reason to think that felons are attracted only to Democrats. In the first case of illegal voting by a felon in the 2008 election, the illegal voter admitted to voting for Republican Norm Coleman. Yes, Al Franken had lawyers representing him during the recount. Yes, Al Franken had contributions from big labor, and individuals helped pay for those lawyers. And Norm Coleman had lawyers in the recount, funded by big business and other traditional Republican campaign contributors. When pressed by Minnesota's Supreme Court, Norm Coleman's lead attorney stated, quote, "There is no voter fraud. There is no election fraud. There is no state in the union that has cleaner elections than Minnesota." So what this false attack ad should have said is, what do you get when you combine Republican lawyers, Democratic lawyers, big labor, and big business? A fair fight, which is how Al Franken won the vote in Minnesota.